What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be covering the chapter 225 leaks. First and foremost, let's give a big thanks to me and Mura on Twitter per usual, providing all the early information. And with that, let's get into it. So the chapter starts with a switch in point of view. While sorcerers are watching Gojo versus Sukuna battle through various screens, the commentator of the telecast briefs that Sukuna is using domain amplification against Gojo to neutralize the infinity barrier. Now, not to be that guy, but I certainly said that was the case. Now, I'm unsure as to if this applies to Sukuna's techniques, but you can see like the little barrier around Sukuna as he fights Gojo, so I kind of figured that he was using domain amplification. In the next page, Yuta explains that it's the same plan Hanami and Jogo used against Gojo as they saw Megamaru's video from Shibuya. Akari wonders how it's possible, to which Kusakabe replies, domain amplification is an upgraded version of simple domain. I don't know if they went over this already in the story. I honestly did not know that. Maybe they said it and I forgot, but that's interesting if they didn't go over it already. Now, Angel says something pretty interesting and straight up says that the cons of amplification is that one can't use their innate curse technique, and the same goes for Sukuna. But if Sukuna has a different plan to bypass infinity, then Angel says that Gojo will lose. So Angel already writing off Gojo and basically saying he ain't shit without his barrier. Now, that's kind of crazy. I think Gojo has more than what we've seen, and I'm sure he'll show us that soon. Now Mira responds asking why isn't Sukuna just using domain expansion? Kiara reboots. Now, there are a lot of characters in this chapter just talking to each other, but Kiara says to Miwa, you say it so easily, but it will finish the battle almost instantly. Yuji says that the must hit of a domain would penetrate Gojo's infinity. Then Ui Ui asks, what if Sukuna is assuming that he can't win a domain battle against Gojo? But Shoko replies that Gojo's wicked personality and his six eyes would have caught such thoughts of Sukuna if he had any. Then Choso adds that Sukuna's domain doesn't even have a barrier to begin with. Now, I'm really happy we're getting all these characters talking because this is something we need, you know? I just like things like this. So the interesting thing about this is we see Yuta, Hakari, and Kashimo kind of have an irritated response to this by silence and like clicking their teeth. Now, people were saying Kashimo was dead. He wasn't dead. He's here. So he's here with the cast. Who knows if he'll fight with them? Probably not. I think he will. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens with Kashimo. But then Miwa says she doesn't understand how a barrierless domain works, so Kusakabe asks her to throw the water. Miwa throws a bottle of water near her, and he gives it back to her, saying that he never asked for the bottle, but just the water. Meimei then says, a barrierless domain is like painting without a canvas. Basically the same way that it's explained to us in Shibuya when Sukuna fights Maharaga. Now Maki says it's rare but not impossible. Megumi's domain expansion and therefore lacked a barrier as well, but Kusakabe says that Megumi's is not the same as Sukuna's, as Megumi had to make use of the environment since it was incomplete, while Sukuna has free control over his domain expansion. Now, all of that makes sense, right? I'm glad we're getting these explanations that we may not need, but the characters need to make sense in verse instead of them just knowing. It's so easy for everybody to go ahead and say Yakatami's rushing the story, but with interactions like this, I doubt it. I think he's taking his time because he really doesn't have to include this. He could always just write that these characters know. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't even need to stall out the fight like this. But we move. Choso then reveals that Kenjaku also had a barrierless domain. He explains that in their battle, Yuki used a simple domain while Tengen dismantled Kenny's domain from the outside. Choso adds that Yuki's simple domain did not stand a chance, but if she had used her domain expansion, by the way, nothing happens after this, so he doesn't even explain. He's just like, if she used her domain expansion, who knows what could have happened. That's basically what that's implying. Then Ino asks, they're talking about domain expansion casually, but it can't even be used often, right? Inumaki says, Okaka and Yuta translate it by saying, Gojo doesn't run out of cursed energy. Ino then says, using domain expansion consecutively should be a different case. Kashimo then adds, Sukuna is like God when it comes to using curse energy efficiently. If it comes to efficiency, Sukuna would have already won the battle if not for Gojo's 6 eyes. Oh, so one thing is Kashimo just be knowing stuff he shouldn't know. How he know this? How would Kashimo even know that about Sukuna? Anyways, despite Kashimo somehow knowing this, I mean, he just be knowing anything at this point, right? But it's still an interesting detail that Sukuna can use curse energies that efficiently, even without the 6 eyes. So I think what Gege's trying to convey to us here is that nobody's gonna lose due to energy loss. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be able to fight. They're gonna have to take each other out. Yeah, I mean, they can both use domains all they want, but whoever wins will be the one with a better domain, not who exhausts themselves. And this could be potentially why Kashimo never worked on a domain, because he knew that Sukuna could pull out his domain and ultimately beat him. Kashimo's entire purpose is to defeat Sukuna, so, right? That's just a little headcanon guess I've got though. After all the talk, Momo comes to a conclusion saying that it's just her guess, but even Gojo Sukuna might not know what the outcome of the domain battle would be. Higuruma calls out to everyone to see what's happening, and the scene switches to Gojo and Sukuna doing a domain clash. Oh my god, yo. I can't believe this is actually happening, man. Now, I'm glad they're getting this out of the way early, because I did not want this to be the climax of their fight, okay? I want them to use their domains, then battle using all their abilities. So this fight's gonna be great. We're actually gonna see a true fight instead of just fight, nothing happened, and domain. You know what I'm getting at? Now we see Gojo's Unlimited Void versus Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine. Inside Gojo's domain barrier, both Sukuna and Gojo's must hit effect overlapped and got cancelled. But if either one of them gets severe damage and collapse, the must hit will affect the opponent in a split second. Kusakabe and Meme are shocked. The narrator explains that Sukuna's domain effect range reaches even outside of Gojo's barrier. In the barrier of a domain, Yuji completes the sentence saying, a domain's barrier is weak from attacks from the outside. Sukuna slash attacks Gojo's barrier from the outside and the barrier collapses. And finally, Sukuna's must hit slashes Gojo's neck. Now, Gojo's going to be able to just regenerate from this, but the fact that Gojo getting damaged is leaving me speechless says a lot about this fight in Gojo's character. I don't even know what to say. I see Gojo having a slash on his neck and I'm just speechless. I'm lost. It says a lot about the writing of these characters, how much they really affect us due to how they're narratively held, and Gege has done an amazing job with this series. That's all I have to say after seeing Gojo get hit in the present time, you know? It's just a huge epiphany I had. I don't know why I'm having this mind-blowing, life-changing moment in the middle of the night, but it is kind of crazy to see this. Anyways, great chapter. We see all the characters. We see Kashimo's alive. We get a lot of exposition, character interactions, bunch of things I wanted, and then a hype domain clash to end it off. Absolute perfect chapter. 10 out of 10. I love it. Peak. And with that, the chapter concludes, and I will see you guys next week to cover the leaks again. If you enjoyed the video and you appreciate me staying up all night to catch the leaks, leave a like, subscribe, comment, because I'll be doing this every Tuesday.